Maybe we're bringing manufacturing back to Philadelphia. Quarterback factory, that is. I don't know. Jalen Milroe, will he be an Eagle? Am I rambling? Do we have a show coming up? Zach Berman hasn't sat down yet, but he's about to. Check it out next on the PHLY Eagles podcast. To the PHLY Eagles podcast on a beautiful Monday, presented by the good folks at TrueMark Financial. Boy, are we ready. The draft is next week, Zach. Julia has cracked open a nice cold can of content. We got lots to talk about. How was your weekend?
It was quick. It was good. Spent time.
Hopefully not as quick as Shay's third date, you know what I mean?
I don't know what you mean. I did, some family time, some work, and
nice.
Eager for the draft to come. What about you?
The draft is approaching, and we are excited to talk about it. Now, the Eagles, they're up. I think we're up to 23 of 30 reported visits. I want to talk to you about some of the more recent ones that have been reported on today's show. We're going to focus on the quarterback position in our position previews, and tomorrow we're going to hear from the decision makers.
Yes. Looking forward to Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni speaking tomorrow in a press conference similar to the Combine when they don't tell you anything. But we kind of know the rules of engagement going into this. Like the Combine, you're trying to get morsels of information. This, you're thinking more theoretical. So one thing I'm actually curious from them tomorrow is the top 30 visits, what they're trying to ascertain from it. Because as you said, they've signaled this in recent years that, how this is a tool. Some of the changes in college football, if that comes up, some of their contingencies that they deal with. So a number of questions for Howie and, well, mainly for Howie.
This is one where Nick is up there and like nobody cares to talk to Nick much at all.
Except there was one of these when they announced Matt Patricia on the website right before.
Yes.
Yeah, and so it was all Matt Patricia questions. And then they had to kind of put
I think somebody got in trouble for putting it up right before and instead of waiting, an extra hour.
Waiting the extra hour. Yeah. I mean, it's news, right? Nothing.
Absolutely. I would like to ask Howie the question about the increased focus on the guys of first and second round draft pedigree that they have signed.
That's a good one.
Given the Terrace Marshall signing, but I don't know. Maybe somebody else will ask him.
You're really down on Terrace.
Why?
Given that, I mean, this has already been going on.
That was recent.
Yeah, true. No, I just mean like
this
has been a thread throughout, going back to last year, I would say.
I agree.
Yeah. So I
don't understand what you're disagreeing with.
No, I'm not disagreeing. I just didn't think like that the Terrace Marshall signing, like,
it's just the latest one.
The latest one.
Yeah.
Okay.
The numbers have changed. There's another one.
There's another one. Fair enough.
Okay. Anyway. How are you? Here's my question.
Yes.
I believe 4 reported visits since we last sort of went over these guys. Tell me what you think of these. USC cornerback Jaylin Smith, and shout out to Brandon Lee Gowden for being the most reliable source of bringing all of these reports together. You can also check them out on the Eagles 100 if you're a diehard. You can go to allphly.com to become one and see all of Fran Duffy's scouting reports. Jaylin Smith is Fran's corner 20. This is a player with safety and nickel background, although he played on the outside this past year. And we're talking about a day 3 prospect. What do you make of them bringing in a player like him?
The versatility is what jumps out to me there. Although they have looked at a few corners, right? They brought in some slot options, so I found that I found that interesting. He's not someone who I would like. The fact it's similar to how we talked about with Jalen Travis last week, that when you're bringing in a day 3 guy, it jumps out to you because it's clearly someone you want to get more information on.
And to your point, of the 23 reported visits, would you like to know the position breakdown?
I would.
Corner, there have been 4 That is tied for the second most after 5 edges. Then you've got 4 tackles, 3 interior offensive linemen, 3 defensive tackles, 2 safeties, a running back, and a linebacker. Speaking of the linebacker, the only linebacker, that is Penn State's Kobe King, making anything of that.
Bring Kobe back to Philly, right? What do I make of it? Look, Penn State has a defense that I would be interested in poaching, right? I mean, I like both those safeties. We'll get into that. One of them visited. Actually, I don't know if I'm on that show, but I have a lot of thoughts on the safety class. I'll intersperse next week. But both those Penn State safeties I liked. But that Penn State defense overall, that's an impressive group.
Okay. Tyleik Williams, the Ohio State big honkin' defensive tackle. I mean, interesting because you're talking about a guy who was probably a late first or second round pick who would presumably mean Jordan Davis is not going to be here for very much longer.
You don't think so? You think
it doesn't necessarily mean that.
You think he's like a nose specific player?
I think that's part of the appeal. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think I liked him. We discussed him last week. Yeah. I think he can play a few spots. He is a big guy, but I think he can penetrate. Although we said the same thing about Jordan Davis, and you're right. He's only kind of been more of a nose since he's been here.
All right, last one then, and that is Malaki Starks, the Georgia safety. You said you've got some deep safety thoughts. Tell us your thoughts on Malaki Starks.
Yeah, Starks he's the safety I like the most in this class. Credit to Elliot Shore-Parks. He's one who said that Starks came in. I like him more than the South Carolina safety, just in terms of the play. I think Starks just jumps out to me in so many ways. He reminds me of Brian Branch in terms of the versatility. I think he can cover. He's smart, great pedigree. If you start day one at Georgia, that stands out to me. And that's kind of been what he was, a legit 5-star guy, every check mark. I think he's passed. So Malaki Starks, I don't think the Eagles are taking a safety in the first round. If they take a safety in the first round, I think Malaki Starks will be a very worthy pick.
So unpack that. Why I know we have talked about this a little bit, but if the board is a certain way, beggars can't be choosers, you still don't think that they would really pull the trigger on a safety?
Well, that's the thing. I think it only happens if the board's a certain way. Okay. I don't think they're going into this draft with the objective.
Stack rank for me the positions that you think that they would like to have with that pick.
With the first round pick?
Yes.
Line of scrimmage. So edge.
Well, be more specific though.
Edge, O tackle, T tackle.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then if there's a significant drop off after that, would you think that safety is next?
Safety or tight end? I'd say safety.
Okay.
Probably safety. Yeah.
And do you think corner is a possibility there?
I don't. Which is interesting because Maxwell Harrison's someone who's been linked to them, and that's probably the range for him. But I don't. I think they have a decent reservoir of corners right now, and I think they can add to that. But I guess you can never have enough good young corners. I think this is
interesting with how young they are at corner because you think about the guys who have been drafted there, and one of them is actually Kelee Ringo, who was drafted 2 years ago and is younger than a lot of players in this draft class, including some other guys, but also he's younger, a full year younger than Quinyon Mitchell.
Boom! You hit it early today. Good work.
Fumbled it a little bit.
You're ready on this Monday. There's a mailbag up on allphly.com.
There is. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, we have a great promo.
Oh, nice.
I hope you're diehard by now. Just for Fran's draft guide alone for the T-shirt, there's so much value you can get. But my articles as well, our Sixers articles, our Flyers articles, Phillies content. So, but I have a mailbag up, and part 2 will come out tomorrow. That's more kind of where they might trade to.
This is wild.
What?
Well, you have so much book writing to
do. Yeah.
You're banging out a mailbag.
2 of them. Yeah. You sound like Emily right now. Yeah. But I didn't want it to be bare up there. So anyways, the question was about first and second round safeties. And I don't think the Eagles are going into this draft saying they need C.J. Gardner-Johnson's replacement.
I totally agree with that.
In this draft. I think if they take Starks, it's because the value is too strong for the player, not necessarily like, they lost CJ, here's your replacement. I think they're earnest about giving Sidney Brown a chance to compete for the job. I don't think Sidney Brown's like the no-doubt starter. If you take Starks, he's the no-doubt starter. If you take a safety in the first round, he's starting next to Blankenship. I think that more likely you're looking at late day 2, early day 3 for a safety. That guy's competing with Sidney Brown, and I imagine they're keeping a veteran safety, perhaps Justin Simmons, post-draft, similar to Mekhi Becton last year, where, if you still have that need thereafter, you attack it via free agency. But I'm expecting there to be a quality edge rusher or D tackle on the board again, and I'm going to get into this in tomorrow's mailbag. I'm not rolling out a trade up to 24 to the Vikings. That's a spot that I would be earmarking
Why?
right now. They only have 3 draft picks right now. They don't have a second rounder. They don't have a 4th rounder, I believe it is. If you just look at, if you trade a 1st, your 3rd, and a 5th, to get up from 32 to 24, and if Tyleik Williams falls to 24, I think that's the type of move that the Eagles should make.
Should make, or
Should
would make.
Would and should, but again, you don't know how the board goes. I think too, last year one of the things that really helped the Eagles was to run on quarterbacks early, and this guy, I guess this ties into what we're saying today, but the Derrick Carr news could affect this draft a bit. Not to say that because Derrick Carr's hurt, the Saints should all of a sudden look at a quarterback. If they liked the quarterback at 9 before Carr's injury, they should have liked him after Carr's injury as well. But if there is a quarterback that they're willing to take at 9, that affects everything thereafter, right? So I think that's a big pivot point in this draft.
If the Saints come to you and say, listen, we know you have a superstar quarterback there.
Yeah.
We want to trade for him. What's the price for Tanner McKee?
I mean, your price and my price
Kellen
might be
wants
different.
his guy.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine Howie would ask for 9. He's not going to get 9. I would trade McKee for a 2nd round pick.
How about Jaylin for 9?
Wow. Yeah, no, I don't think they're trading Jalen for 9.
Okay.
I'm not sure Kellen Moore is either, though. So,
I think that's probably right.
Yeah.
Okay, my other question here is, with that spot at 32, we know they could move up. Howie likes to move up.
Yeah.
Although I think I would argue that part of the reason that he was so successful last year is because he was able to stay patient and then move up in round 2. But he also likes to make a splash.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that you think they could trade 32 for a player?
I wouldn't rule it out, but I think it would have to be a player. I shouldn't say have to. It would presumably be a player on a rookie contract.
Yeah, I think that.
Right? Like,
right.
I don't
just
think
given the
it's
cash.
Yes,
right?
exactly. Like, I don't think you're going and trading for TJ Watt.
Yeah.
And then making, then paying a guy $25 million.
Right.
Given what your rhetoric's been this offseason.
Right.
But if there's a guy who was like a top 10 pick in the past 2 drafts or something like
that's
that.
what I was thinking about too, and I don't know if that guy is out there. The guys, the only 2 guys who sort of made a little bit of sense to me as I was going around, because I think you would be looking for a young player on his rookie contract, right? You think back to the Minkah Fitzpatrick situation when they were interested in trading for him. I mean, this one doesn't make as much sense because he's going to get a new deal soon, but you get 1 year of the cheap deal. Sauce Gardner?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an interesting one. Top of the league player. I think
if you're thinking about a new regime, like, is this a place for them to start over?
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly an interesting name. I'm not sure that's the direction, but yeah, that is an interesting one.
And then the only other, this one is much less sexy, and I have no opinion on whether he has actually been as good as he was supposed to be the first couple of years. But you think about the fit. What about Peter Skoronski?
Haven't watched enough Titans to tell you, but
I don't think anybody's watched it. I think everybody has watched enough Titans.
I don't know if he's worth.
Titans.
Yeah, but that's.
I don't think he for 2 years of a rookie contract would be worth 32.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So it's tough. I don't know that there's anybody out there.
But
you think about the teams who have had regime changes. Even them, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
you get the 1 year of Trayvon Walker. That's not as enticing either, I don't think.
I mean, what if they go full Giants and trade for Kayvon Thibodeau, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to see. I mean, I don't think Charles Cross is available. I'm just looking at that draft class here, which by the way, as we've talked about, they had like 6 guys from the first round that year anyways. I just don't I don't see it. Maybe like a Jermaine Johnson. Yeah, but I don't see it.
32. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Okay.
But this is the thing. Some of their big moves are, I mean, AJ Brown was he wanted a new deal, but there weren't all these rumblings leading up to the draft that they were going to trade for AJ Brown.
Sure.
So it could be something that's kind of brewing under the table. I wasn't making fun of Adam Schefter last week when I said that they could trade up or down or trade for a veteran.
I'm sure you are.
No, when Adam puts that out there, it's because Adam's hearing that as well. So clearly there's something there. But yeah, I think Howie is, I say this every year, I look straight into the camera. Howie is trying to make trades. I promise you, Howie is not showing up to the draft next Thursday being like, I wonder what these guys are going to do. I mean, Howie's going through every single pick. He's going through scenarios, as he's discussed. They actually go through more of the worst case scenarios, like what's going to happen if this does, and he's learned from experience, because when they go through the most likely scenarios, which they thought they did in 2014, it did not come to fruition. So they try to look at worst case scenarios, but there are best case scenarios that interest him as well.
I would think so. We have a super chat from Claire, who wants to know, Zach, peck nest migrate, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg.
In what variety here? In what?
I think it's up to you.
I mean, like, are we talking about like the companies they've built or them as
No.
human beings? Okay, so it's human beings.
I would imagine.
I'm staying away from this one here because now this gets political, and I do not want to get there. But there's I could talk about it from the companies that they built, but no, I honestly don't have enough information. I've never met these guys. I've read biographies on 2 of them. I've seen a movie on 1 of them. But again, I don't have enough information here to really give a good answer.
I would go migrate.
Okay. That's not the game, but okay.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk quarterbacks. Is there a chance that the Eagles could do it again with a Jalen quarterback with Alabama ties in the second round? Maybe. All right. Let's do it. We're talking about Ashley. The low prices are blooming this spring, so spring into savings at Ashley Home Furniture. Save up to 50% off living rooms, bedrooms, and dining rooms, and have it all delivered free. Plus, you get long-term, no-interest financing, and you save on top brand mattresses and get free delivery, setup, and removal. But don't wait. Spring into savings now at Ashley South Jersey and Philadelphia. Financing is with approved credit. Minimum purchase required. Some exclusions may apply. See store for complete details. Hurry to Ashley. What's better than a good night's sleep? Nothing. And if you want to make sure you get one, go to Ashley. Visit ashleyfurniture.com for more information.
So I want to tell everyone about Bet365. I was at a family event last night, and people were tuned into the Masters. And I imagine a lot of people had some Shedeur on the Masters. And
Sure did.
Did you win?
Sure did.
You're a Rory guy?
Yeah.
Well, I hope the place you did it is Bet365, because whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Bet365 has 90 million users worldwide. They live stream 780,000 events each year. Early payout offers across NBA and NHL. The playoffs are coming up in both those sports. This is the time to make your bets. Bet365 pioneered live in-game betting. So, you know, this Lakers T-Wolf series is going to be interesting. The play-in games out west are fascinating. The play-in games east, not particularly good. But you know what? That's the great thing about Bet365 is that if there's a game that you're not excited to watch and you bet on it, it gives you more of a vested interest. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Win or lose, sign up, use the code PHLY. 365, deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get that $150 in bonus bets. Again, win or lose.
Julia has a good tagline. Bet365, it's never ordinary.
There you go. Look at that. Joy is smart. I like that. Good one, Joy. Breaking news from Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5 win or lose. Sign up, use the code PHLY365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. If your bet wins or loses, bonus bets can be used on the spreads, totals, players, props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in PA. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Did you watch the Masters?
I did not.
Everybody was watching, but you
well, they were on their phone. I was trying to have conversations. I was playing with the kids. I'm not a huge golf guy, but I am a sports guy. I know how big that is. So I did watch on YouTube last night, went through, and I read the stories. Barry Svrluga wrote a great column in the Washington Post. But I did not watch it live. I did a lot of reading on Rory McIlroy and have seen things on him. Seems like nice guy, and happy for him that he won. But it's the best day of his golfing life. It's pretty cool. The Grand Slam. Pretty cool, but yeah, golf does not do it for me right now.
Okay.
Trying to get into it more.
Okay. I mean,
what's this?
It's incredibly fun to watch.
Are they just asking
what a
me?
roller coaster of emotions.
Okay.
Yes. CDP has a super chat for you. He says, Peckness migrate. J. Edgar Hoover, Ben Simmons, Dick Cheney.
Gosh, I'm not qualified to answer this one. Ben Simmons is the only one there I'm really qualified to talk about, although
Right, so
I've seen movies on the other two.
You're nesting Ben.
I was always a big Ben Simmons guy when he was here.
Okay.
But
who are you gonna pick? Dick or J. Edgar?
I mean, again,
based on the movies.
Based on the movies, J. Edgar.
Okay.
Yeah, and then migrating Dick Cheney in that situation. And then what's the next? This one here looks like an immediate one.
Yes. Another one from Claire.
Yeah.
Washington Post, New York Times, Fox News. Good one.
Yeah, I'm migrating Fox News here. I've worked at both these places.
All of a sudden, he wants to get political.
No, this isn't political. This is just. I guess the migrating, but you know what? I'm gonna.
They just want to see you squirm. I'm gonna
nest.
Protect my boy.
In this case here, I'm gonna nest the New York Times and peck the Washington Post. But that's tough because I love the Washington Post. I have good friends there. What?
What's the reasoning?
The New York Times now has a more robust sports department because they purchased the Athletic, and so they cover every sport. Or there's.
So is this just you covering your bases for potential future employment? Or is this?
No,
there are more jobs available there. So
no, it's the mission there. Yeah. I mean, when I was at the Washington Post, it was primarily just local Washington coverage was the focus. Now by the New York Times spending $550 million on the Athletic, they show their commitment to real high quality sports coverage, and so that would be my answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think there's any chance the Eagles draft a quarterback in the first 3 rounds?
I never say never, but I think it's highly unlikely.
Do you think the Jalen Milroe thing is a real possibility? I kind of do.
Sell me on it.
I think his tools are special, and in a draft where nobody's that exciting, if they're on the clock in the second round. And, it's listen, if we're going to be about the things that are important to us, we got to be about them. And if he's there at the top of their board, I think it would be crazy for them not to pull the trigger. Now, they may not have him graded that highly. He may already be off the board. I wouldn't make this case for like a Tyler Schuck type of player. But
is he older than McKee? Tyler Schuck?
I mean, he's older than God. But the Milroe thing is a little bit interesting to me. I think it's not insane.
Well, it's not insane.
I mean, I'm putting 3 turkeys on it.
Yeah, because look, he is a high. Like there are tools that you like. I hear great things about the intangible characteristics. In that respect, similar to what you're talking about with Jalen Hurts in terms of the tools and the intangible characteristics. The Eagles situation here is a little different back than it was in 2020. But yeah, if you have, I do think from having conversations about this with Jeffrey Lurie, with other people in the building, their operating principles that they have conviction on a quarterback to follow that conviction on a quarterback. I do wonder. I actually think there's a better chance of Jalen Milroe going in the first round than the Eagles taking him in the second round.
Okay, because he's been invited to the combine or to the
draft. I think that's one thing, and I think quarterbacks can be pushed up the board, and I think there are enough teams in the league with kind of uncertain quarterback situations that they might want to trade in.
The Eagles then if they're able to trade down from 32.
Yeah, and you know what? There's good precedent there. I mean, the Rams took Lamar Jackson at 32 that year. You know, the Eagles. You know, Howie could be selling that narrative. Get your Lamar Jackson here at 32.
Come and get him. Get your Lamar. I mean, he did run a sub 4.4 40 at his pro day. Milroe,
did he?
I mean, you've watched more college football.
I've watched a lot of
most
Jalen
people
Milroe.
Alive.
Yeah,
what's your Jalen Milroe take?
Yeah, Jalen Milroe. The tools are apparent. The inconsistency is also apparent. Now, there's been inconsistency too in terms of offensive play callers. You had Tommy Reese 2 years ago. That did not really work out well for either side.
Poor guy. I mean, he had the best play caller of all time.
Last year I thought there was it just didn't kind of totally add up with that Washington offense that Kellen, that Kellen DeBoer brought in. The tools are clear. Like the running ability is outstanding. Great arm. Like I mean, A type arm, A- arm. So there's definitely a lot to work with. But I don't love him. I mean, I don't. I should say this. I don't love this quarterback draft class.
Yeah.
There's some years where, and look, I've been completely wrong on some of these quarterbacks I've discussed in the past.
Everybody in the league.
But this year here, like if I was a team in the top 10, you're talking yourself into these guys more than anything.
You don't love
else.
Cam Ward?
I like Cam Ward. I don't love Cam Ward. No.
Okay.
No, I mean I liked like for instance, back in the 2020 draft, was it? Yeah. I like Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields more than I like Cam Ward this year. I like the upside of Trey Lance then more than I like Cam Ward this year. Zach Wilson I wasn't as enthralled with as some other people were, but I'm on record saying how much I like Justin Fields that year. Mm-hmm. I would take Justin Fields as a prospect over Cam Ward as a prospect.
As a prospect, but
not now. We've seen 5 years play out, right? So yeah.
Okay. Then how do you feel about Shedeur?
Similarly, in that just don't like it, don't love it, right? Like I think he's solid. I keep hearing like he changed the program. Colorado got a lot better. They had the Heisman Trophy winner as well. I thought Shedeur was solid. He was a good quarterback. I think some of these guys, it's like, all right, good quarterbacks in the NFL, but not. You know, if you're taking a guy in the top 10, you think you're going to build.
If he's a good quarterback in the NFL, that's absolutely worth it.
Or okay, I think he's someone who, again, I like Justin Fields more than him. I like Trey Lance coming out more than I like Shedeur Sanders. So I could be wrong there, but Shedeur just doesn't excite me the way those three quarterbacks I mentioned that year. That's what I like. For instance, last year, I really liked Michael Penix coming out. We did that My Guys exercise. I was like all about him. I thought he was going to be. Now he got drafted around where I thought he should go. Like I said, this guy should not be lingering in the draft. He should go in the top half of the first round. And it turned out he was a top 10 pick. But I like Michael Penix last year better than I like both these guys this year.
How about like J.J. McCarthy?
I like J.J. McCarthy better than both these guys this year.
How about who's the other one? Oh, Bo Nix.
I didn't love Bo Nix. Bo Nix had an outstanding year with the Broncos. So it shows you I'm not a quarterback evaluator here. But
that's not what you're paid to do.
But he's I'd probably view him comparable, maybe a little more than Shedeur, a little less than Cam Ward.
Okay.
Yeah. I liked McCarthy a lot last year. I liked Penix a lot last year.
And if you were Tennessee at 1, would you hold your nose and take Cam Ward, or would you rather keep building and take Hunter or Abdul Carter?
If I liked Ward enough, I would take him. Because for the reason you said, because you need a quarterback. I don't know where else they're going to get that quarterback. It's clearly not Will Levis. I don't like the idea of just like keep kicking the can down the road. I'd rather take a swing on a guy if you have even like a modicum of conviction about him. But I got to say this. If I was Tennessee and the New York Giants really liked Cam Ward, I would try to make that trade. The Cleveland Browns really like Cam Ward, I would try to make that trade. I would rather, in this draft, get those additional picks than take Cam Ward.
Okay.
Why do you feel strongly about Cam Ward?
I don't feel strongly.
Yeah. I hate him, but you just don't feel strongly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it is a surprising leap to me. You know, this is a guy who was considered a late day 3 pick last year, and then the 1 year at Miami. He's kind of it's a fun playing style.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's fun to watch. I would be faking it if I said I crunched the tape on the All-22 on Cam Ward, but he seems to me a significantly better prospect than Shedeur Sanders. But
yes. Yeah, that's how I feel too.
Yeah.
That's how I feel too. I mean, Shedeur.
No, Shedeur, I mean, it's like,
he makes really good throws.
He's got the highest completion percentage of any of these elite quarterbacks in the sample. Like, there's something to be said for it. I actually think, like, you're thinking about playing style. That does seem like a good fit for Kellen Moore's offense, actually.
Sure. And he's tough too. Like, the thing that jumps out to me about Shedeur Sanders is that guy got hit so many times and kept getting up. He was the leader of the program. They won. That was a program that was really struggling before him, Dion, Travis Hunter got there, and Pat Shurmur, and they built it up. They deserve a lot of credit for that. I just like Cam Ward better than I like Shedeur Sanders.
Okay.
Much better.
Now, Fran's QB3, we talked about before, Tyler Schuck.
Yeah, Fran and I are all over the place with these quarterbacks. Yeah, similar to this whole draft.
I cannot get behind this 25-year-old being a consideration for a first-round pick. We got to be kidding ourselves here. Come on.
Because of the age or the player?
Both.
Yeah, there is a, like, in terms of the profile, there's a little Brandon Whedon to him. When I talk about the older player, but also
Whedon was. You know how old Whedon was as a rookie?
27.
28.
28. Okay.
That's insane. What were they thinking? 28 years old.
I was present for his first start.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know who else was?
Michael Vick.
I guess that's true.
You
know who was there? Who was present for his first start as a Pee-wee player?
Who?
Moses.
So you're acknowledging Moses' his existence. Okay.
Have I ever denied Moses' existence?
Okay. I think that's a stride for you.
How so?
Oh, you're getting biblical here, talking about Moses.
How is that a stride for me?
I haven't heard you go biblical before.
What are you talking about?
I haven't heard you.
As if I've for so long been refusing to mention Moses.
In any event, yeah, Brandon Whedon's first start.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm great.
Did you get enough sleep last night?
No, I definitely did not.
Sleep last night?
I haven't gotten more than 5 hours of sleep in the past week.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. My goal was 5 hours. But I'm almost there. I am almost there. I'm almost there.
Yeah. You just gotta write 8 mailbags first.
Anyways.
Okay. Polar Jam wonders if Whedon was at the first Seder.
He's not at the last one. I know that.
All right. We talked about Milroe.
What about Jaxson Dart? Tell me about because
again, who are we kidding with this guy?
Well, I like Jaxson Dart more than I like Tyler.
Schuck. Okay.
Fran has what? He's Dart.
Got him as QB7.
Yeah, I have him as QB3 and maybe QB2. Like,
really?
Yeah,
interesting.
I don't think Jaxson Dart and Shedeur Sanders are that far away. Actually, I can, if I look close enough, I can like see why you would like Jaxson Dart more than Shedeur Sanders.
You like white guys more?
No, why would you say that? No.
That's how some teams evaluate it. Probably higher on the Giants board. That
literally has nothing to do with my evaluation. I think Jaxson Dart's the better athlete than Shedeur Sanders. And Yeah, no, that's nothing to do with it. I just uh, I find Jaxson Dart to be an intriguing prospect.
Yeah.
But again, I don't like any or this quarterback class.
Fran made a pretty convincing case on just like the history of the Lane Kiffin offenses.
I hate scouting. I hate scouting helmets and offenses. But yeah, go on. No. Yeah, let's hear. Convince me.
Well, check it out on the PHLY draft show. How about that? I don't see it. I don't.
But that's like I kept hearing like Ohio State never produces good quarterbacks until C.J. Stroud's the rookie of the year.
There's a pattern of because of the way that things are schemed.
Sure.
He's saying it doesn't turn out to be what it looks like.
Okay.
And that is a pattern. It's not. I don't think it's scouting the helmet this guy's a tight end at Iowa. You got to go get him.
Yeah.
It's not the helmet. It's the scheme.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I thought Jaxson Dart showed some promise when he was at USC. Lincoln Riley goes there. Kelee Williams comes in. He transfers to Ole Miss. But this is a guy who is the Gatorade Player of the Year coming out of high school in Utah. What?
Nothing.
What? He was the Player of the Year. He was. And I wish he had better arm strength. He doesn't throw like a
darts.
great ball. He doesn't throw darts. Actually, if there are like quarterbacks, well, I just don't like this quarterback class. Like
I mean we're stretching it
exactly. But
I think there are some guys here who could be real backups in the league.
If I had to say like if all these guys are coached up, who's the best? Who will be coached up to be the best quarterback from this draft? I would probably say Jalen Milroe.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's got the
I think Jalen Milroe has the best tools. And again, like I've heard very good things about his makeup as well.
Now how about on day 3, if you're just looking for a guy who can maybe be a cheap backup, and for the seasoned college football watcher, you've watched a lot of these guys. Rank Riley Leonard, Quinn Ewers, and Will Howard for me.
Interesting. 3 totally different types of players.
Yeah.
I guess I would go Howard, Ewers, Leonard.
Okay.
But Leonard has like
better athlete, right?
Yeah, he runs really well. Although Will Howard, I think Will Howard runs really well. I mean Will Howard, local guy by the way, Downingtown.
Yeah.
And
I mean, just buzzing through it quickly. I see a guy who could be a backup.
He like frustrates you because he's like inconsistent, but like the size is there. Yeah. I saw Will Howard at the award show at the Maxwell Awards a few years ago. I was talking to Sirianni, and Will Howard and Caleb Williams walked by. Okay, that's like a Mad Libs right there, right? And Will Howard looked like he just like it. I don't want to say it was like Cam Newton and Britton Covey, but like
he made Caleb Williams look small.
He made Caleb Williams look so small. Yeah, he was there accepting actually the local player of the year, and and Caleb Williams was the national player of the year. But and this is when Will Howard was at Kansas State. But the size really jumps out there.
Okay. Now how about Quinn Ewers? Of the guys, if I'm trying to squint and look for that Brock Purdy prototype, the day 3 potential dart throw, Ewers is the guy who fits that for me.
I can see that. Like again, this is another guy, former top quarterback coming out. Think about Quinn Ewers relative to at least like pre-Ohio State Will Howard and then post-Ohio State Kyle McCord. All of his film, he's with just elite players.
Sure.
He's throwing to, and so there is just a mismatch personnel-wise and schematically every time he's out there. And so I keep expecting Quinn Ewers to do more. But yeah, if you just look at it in a vacuum, I think Quinn Ewers has a lot of tools that you like. I wish he was a little more athletic. I wish he was a lot more athletic. Probably that's probably the part of it that jumps out. Like, Will Howard is a better runner. Riley Leonard's a better runner. I would say yours and Shedeur Sanders are probably like the least athletic, like the least mobile. But maybe that's just the way they play as well. Like, and maybe they are better athletes than they get credit for.
He's a little small.
Yeah, relatively speaking.
Yeah. Okay, and then how about your boy Kyle McCord?
Yeah, I mean, Kyle McCord threw for more passing yards than any player in college football last year. Shout out to Jeff Nixon. That's a good offense.
But it's the same deal. I mean, he's surrounded by guys like Aranda Gadsden Jr. I could throw to those guys.
True. Kyle McCord. Look, I'll put it this way with him. There are throws that he makes where it's like, that is awesome. And there are throws that he makes where it's like, what is he thinking on this play? Like that Pittsburgh game last year, if you watched the Pittsburgh game, it's like, what is he thinking here? But then there are other games where he's awesome. And I thought he got a raw deal at Ohio State. And I think Kyle, I can see why there's intrigue in the NFL about Kyle McCord.
All right. Do you think the Eagles will be intrigued by any of those guys? Do any of them strike you as an Eagles type? And I was thinking about the first thought that came to my mind was I would find it hard to believe that this year is a year in which they were able to do enough homework on a quarterback to really feel good about drafting one. But then again, they drafted Tanner McKee after going to the Super Bowl. So
exactly, that's a good point.
Maybe it's just wrong.
And
they're doing the work.
Tanner McKee was really just kind of like a swing. They like the tools, they like the interview, and they're like, all right, let's take a shot at this. Is there a guy like that this year? I mean, I certainly don't think any of those middle round guys. If someone falls, perhaps, but I'm not inclined to.
There's one other guy that I like.
Let's hear. Who is it? Let me see the list here.
You think about it, and I'll tell you who it is just after this break. True Mark Financial. We are about halfway through Financial Literacy Month. It's almost the Ides of Financial Literacy Month. And that means it's a good time for me to tell you about the things that you can do to help your kids handle their money. Teaching kids how to handle their money is what the Greenlight account with TrueMark Financial is all about. If you are a TrueMark Financial member, you've got a fantastic opportunity to help your kids and teens learn to earn, save, and spend wisely with a free Greenlight account. Now, Greenlight isn't just any app. It is a game changer for your kids, whether they are setting savings goals, learning how to track their spending, or even getting their allowance. It's all right there at their fingertips. And get this, each kid gets their own debit card. That's right. They can make purchases, learn how to budget, and build real-world money skills while you stay in control from your phone. You get peace of mind, and they get a chance to make smart, responsible choices with their money. So, if you are looking for a way to teach your kids some financial plays this Financial Literacy Month, I can't recommend this enough. It's like training for life's biggest game. Head over to TrueMark.com/greenlight. Get all the details and sign up today. Don't miss the chance to set your kids up for financial success.
You know, maybe with Shedeur Sanders, one thing you like about him is that he has a high floor. Okay, because you've seen it. You've seen it at Jackson State. You've seen it at Colorado. You've seen him come in and make high-level throws. And when I'm thinking about floors, what I'm thinking is the home floor advantage, and that's Empire Today. Because Empire Today, they are flooring experts, so they must love Shedeur Sanders. Dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. We've all been to these big box stores. You wander endless aisles, then somehow you're hauling all these materials home, looking for an installer and coordinating it yourself. These big box stores might have a flooring department, but the person helping you with flooring might have been doing sinks yesterday and could be stocking light bulbs tomorrow. Some people say that's versatile. I say that guy's not an expert, okay? Ooh. And at Empire Today, you get experts, because why is Empire Today your best bet for a new floor? Empire Today lives and breathes flooring, and they will be with you every step of the way. It's a whole different ballgame. With Empire Today, you get clear upfront and all-inclusive pricing. I like clear upfront, all-inclusive pricing. And you could schedule an installation as soon as the next day. Nobody likes to wait. Schedule a free in-home estimate today, because some things are just better at home. PHLY listeners can receive a $350 discount with promo code PHLY. Yes, you heard that right. $350 with code PHLY. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/PHLY for full details. All right. Reveal it.
You got any guesses?
Let me see here. It's not going to be Dylan Gabriel. He's too old.
And small.
He's
a real outlier, though, in lots of different ways. Crazy production.
Let's go with the Canuck, Curtis Rourke.
I think he's also very old.
He is on the older side.
Yeah. I mean, they're all
Yeah.
old. This is a draft class of olds.
Well, that's college football because the reality is
of
you're getting
course.
paid more
Of course.
to play quarterback
Right.
somewhere.
You have to factor it in a little bit less.
Unless you're Nico. You go Seth Hennigan?
No. I actually don't think I don't think Fran has written him up yet.
No.
I mean, the person I'm picking.
Oh, Fran hasn't. Graham Mertz.
That's what you're looking at. No.
Brady Cook.
No.
Okay. Okay, so let me go. Max Brosmer's too old. Let's roll over to the beast here.
Okay.
Let me get that tab open, and let's go with. Let me see who's a nice bow type.
Go ahead and guess in the chat if you want.
There you go. That's a good way to utilize the chat.
If you're a true sicko, and you have all the college football quarterbacks memorized.
So the good thing here is he has the age demographics as well. You're not going with an old guy.
Interesting. You use that? You don't like the PDF version? You like that layout?
I like the interactive version. Yeah, I think they do a good job with it.
Interesting. I much prefer the PDF version.
See, the New York Times company, they're always thinking like next step ahead here.
Yeah, and of course, because it's new, you feel like you have to use it.
I honestly, it's not a guy we've talked about yet. I don't know. Surprise me here.
North Dakota State's Cam Miller.
Okay.
I like a Cam Miller.
Do you?
It's a little small, but
okay.
That's relative.
Yes.
But I like Cam Miller. I like the way he throws. I like the way it looks like he's going through progressions. He doesn't have a big arm, but if I'm looking for a guy who can become potentially maybe a backup quarterback, yeah, give me the North Dakota State kid from Solon, Iowa.
33 touchdowns, 4 interceptions last season.
Yeah,
it's a good ratio. Okay.
That's good analysis.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I like Cam Miller.
Okay.
Also sounds like it's Cam Miller is kind of like the name Kamala said with a really thick accent.
Speaking about good analysis. Yes.
Cam Miller. See what Cam Miller did?
Yeah.
You got me?
But this is a bad class.
Kamala.
I would say that next year's draft, I like the quarterbacks better than this year.
Yeah?
Yeah, let me give you some. I mean, Arch Manning, Drew Allar are two guys you'll hear.
Sure.
But the guy who you should really pay attention to next year is from South Carolina, Lenore Sellers. This guy's intriguing. So pay attention to him.
Okay. You got any more reasons why?
If you watch South Carolina this year,
he's pretty good at handing the ball off to
Rocket Sanders. Yeah, no, I thought he was.
What kind of player is he?
Big, physical.
Okay.
Runs.
Pocket passer or
no? He's
passer?
I don't want to say he's athletic.
Is he the kind of guy who would have been graded as a quarterback or a dual threat quarterback in the high school system?
Dual threat, I imagine. Okay. Yeah, dual threat. But like 240 pounds.
Oh.
Like a big guy, 235, 240 pounds.
Like a Cam Newton type almost.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Like a big, big guy. Lenore Sellers. But
putting your hands around his waist.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that there was a little drop off or no drop off going from Spencer Rattler to him last year at South Carolina.
Okay.
Shane Beamer's done a good job with that.
Well,
program.
Christopher W. in the chat got Cam Miller. Cam Miller.
But then Arch Manning, obviously, there's a lot of excitement about him.
Yeah, I'd like to have him start for more than 1 year, you know?
True. Maybe Kellen Moore's tanking. Bring Arch back to New Orleans.
I don't think Kellen Moore has the kind of sway to decide whether they're tanking or not.
I think they'll have no problem doing that on their own. So.
Probably so. What do you think they're going to do?
Good question. I mean, there's not really anyone out there. I don't think the Falcons are trading them Kirk Cousins right now. I'm kind of at a loss here. I don't know where I think they're going to draft somebody and have that guy compete with Spencer Rattler. But no, it's a pretty grim situation. Then again, I didn't.
Not the only grim situation these days. You know what I mean?
I didn't think Derek Carr was like the reason to get behind or the reason to get excited.
Sure, but he's a baseline of competence.
Sure, yeah, baseline of competence.
Okay. What else is going on? Clicking around that old ding dong of yours.
You tell me. you tell me. You got a lot going on right now.
I sure do.
You nervous?
I'm not nervous.
Excited?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just there's a lot that has to happen.
What's like the number one thing on your mind?
What's the number one thing on my mind? I don't know. Just making sure that everything goes okay.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone, I think I speak for everyone in the chat. We're all excited for you and excited for what's ahead.
Thank you.
I'm going to tell you a pet peeve. I'm back to the draft. Unless you have. Yeah. Will do more baby talk?
No, go ahead.
No, go on.
Gaga.
No, go on.
No, go ahead.
Okay. An expression that's become a pet peeve of mine. Okay. When the reporter says, I hear the league is higher on this guy than the media is. And this sticks to my craw, this expression.
Interesting.
Because first off, when you say the media, are you referring to the consensus big board? Are you referring to just Fran, Dane, Daniel Jeremiah? Like, is it who's?
It would be funny if they were in a press conference calling out a specific analyst.
Yeah, no, is there
By the way, I hear that Daniel Jeremiah is too low. On...
Also, and then the idea that 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 the league is high on, like you talk to one scout or two scouts.
Right. Well, the idea that you as a media member know more than most media members.
Exactly. Yeah. That don't know because I spoke to this guy here and they're high on him, and so therefore. It's like a phrase that people say that try to make them seem like they know more than they do, from my perspective. I mean, I think that it's very important to be transparent during the draft process. That we're all operating with an information deficit. Every one of us is always, but especially around the draft. And there's obviously a lot of misinformation, but really. It's one of those things that nobody knows what's going to happen. Teams do their best guess, but Howie Roseman, who is as good at this as anybody, he's expected things to go a certain way, and it's gone totally different because it's so dynamic. One team makes a decision, and the whole board changes. Cleveland Farrell goes earlier than everyone thinks. It changes the board. Blake Bortles goes different or goes earlier than everyone thinks. It changes the board. So so that's my spiel here. Something I was thinking about.
Okay, I like that. I guess. Yeah, nobody knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, but
I think this year in particular, it's going to be it's going to be even more unpredictable.
That's what makes it fun
than most years, right? It should be a fun time. Join us on draft night, Thursday night. We're going to be live for the whole thing. And then the whole thing on Friday night. And then the whole thing on Saturday. That's a lot of whole things.
Yes,
that's 3 whole things we're going to be live for.
Will you be getting any sleep that week?
I don't anticipate getting much sleep, no.
No. What's your sleep regimen when the baby's born?
Well, we'll see. Usually
you have 2 babies. What has it been?
Nobody remembers those days because that's how you get biologically conditioned to have another one, right?
I use I'll let you go on.
Generally speaking, what our game plan was in the past was around 8 o'clock or whatever it is. Ranger goes down with the baby. She gets a nice stretch. I wake up with the baby for the middle of the night feed, and then wake up to pass off in the middle of the night, and then we're both up, and then I get a little bit of a stretch for that 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. deal.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's I always like to do the really early morning ones because
no surprise.
No, just because I don't like going back to sleep. Like I would rather.
Oh yeah.
I'm not good interrupted sleep. I'm not good. Getting up at midnight and then going back to sleep.
I'm the opposite.
So okay, you're good at falling back to sleep. Yeah.
I have much more trouble falling asleep the first time. Yeah. Whereas if I've been asleep, I can go right back to sleep.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So that's how Emily is. Emily can go back to sleep. But I would always try to do the middle of the night. Oh, I'm sorry, early morning like that. It's like 5 or whatever it was, and then just roll through. But I was speaking. I had a speaking engagement last week, and I was talking about book writing, and I said I want to preface this by saying that I have never had a baby before, right? But I'm
This is delicate.
no, I'm saying
Watch where you step here.
the spirit, but so I'm not comparing writing a book to having a baby. I'm comparing it to the spirit of what I hear in this sense is that when you are in it, you are like, I'm never going to do this again, right? And then when you hold it in your hand at the end, you're like, this was so worth it. Like this is, and so that is because so that's the now again, I'm not saying an author is like a mother in that sense. I'm saying the process of it, the labor is like frustrating. It's annoying, but then when you hold,
oh, gee, this is so frustrating.
but then when you hold it in your hand at the end and you see the finished product, it is it's awesome. It's emotional. It's so that's the comparison that I gave.
That's pretty delicate.
I think I've used this with Emily before, and she's signed off on it. So
Okay, that's
yeah.
good. And then does that work from conception as well?
Elaborate. What do you mean?
Well, how do you get an idea for a book? Do you have sex with a tree?
No. Yeah. No. It's two totally different things there. So, yeah.
I actually, I'll tell you why I think of this, because now that made me think of the Howie Roseman winning a Super Bowl. It's like having your sex for the second time thing. But that also made me think about the thing that he said about they have a no tolerance policy for violence against women.
Yeah.
I think that should be a question asked to him tomorrow, because
Okay.
my understanding is that has not been a red line in the sand for them in the past, and I actually think it's kind of a gross posturing for them to have if that's not really the case.
Yeah, I think again that they would probably argue, not to defend them, but like that they operate with the nuance of like distinguishing between an accusation and a conviction or something of that variety. But
Yeah, they would like to weasel their way out of it.
So
however they can.
I think that's I think there's a lot of rationalization.
I don't think that is
altogether.
as principled a stand as it was presented as.
Agreed. Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other good Howie questions for tomorrow?
I'll open up to the chat.
You don't want to forecast the whole thing.
Yeah, I'll open up to the chat. What do you want to hear from Howie? What do you want to hear from Nick?
Want him to be surprised.
Yeah, what do you want to hear from Nick? I'm curious. Because I know Howie's going to be asked, where's this class strong? And he's not going to say it. And Howie's going to make a reference to, I've gotten in trouble in the past when I've said it's a historic class of X or class of Y. So he won't go there.
Okay.
Wait, chat, what do you want to hear?
Oh.
What?
Wait.
We got news?
Oh.
No.
Julie wanted me to do overtime.
Oh, okay.
Got it. All right, let's play the countdown. 28. 27.
No.
20. Don't worry, we're just counting down the minutes. The second's still overtime. Dinkelberg says, ask Nick what his favorite Pokemon is.
Why is that relevant?
Why isn't it relevant?
What? I don't know a Pokemon. What's like if you asked me that question, I wouldn't have an answer for you.
I mean, I could name a lot of Pokemon.
Okay.
But
and can you is there a way to deduce something about the person based on their Pokemon?
I mean, it's just a question.
Okay.
I think you could probably tell a little bit about somebody based on what their answer would be.
What would Nick's favorite Pokemon be?
Find out just after we get to overtime. Overtime! I think Nick's favorite Pokemon would be who's unhinged. I don't know, maybe Excadrill? I'm just throwing one out there. I don't know.
Okay.
You tell me in the chat. Who do you think Nick Sirianni's favorite Pokemon would be? Polar Jam has a super chat. Says, I know it's hard to find out every single top 30 visit, but what do you make of Walter Nolan not being reported as being one of them yet?
Yeah, good question, Polar Jam. I think that Walter Nolan is the most likely Eagles pick. If I had to say,
Ooh, okay.
am I giving up?
Your big board for the All You Know draft.
I think he's the most likely Eagles pick based on type, value.
Ooh, Primate, good answer.
The range in which he will go. Sometimes there are visits that go unreported, but no, it's a fair question to ask.
I would be surprised. I think there's a chance that they have brought in Walter Nolan.
Okay.
I mean, there's at least 7 unreported. Now, some of the ones that have been reported could also have been local visits. I think it's possible that they brought him in, if not likely.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
And that's the other thing is that, we're playing the game of like a lot of these guys look like trade down candidates, but as we talked about, they are incentivized to keep the ones who could be considered trade up possibilities quiet.
Well said.
You think maybe Kelee Williams would be one of those guys
that they bring in? I mean,
to trade up.
Yeah, I mean,
in your scenario at 24,
he's the guy. He's the player I would trade up for. So him, Kelvin Banks, Josh Simmons are 3 guys that I would identify as trade up candidates at 24. 24 is the spot that I would really watch for the Eagles.
Okay. And there's also, I mean, even ones a little bit after that, there are teams that are incentivized to move down that are also a little bit pick light.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
And the Eagles have volume in the 5th round. They have volume next year. And the other thing too, and we saw this last year, Howie Roseman has no reservations about moving back and accumulating picks as well. So if he gave up 3 picks to move up from 32 to 24, let's say, then he wouldn't be shy about moving back from the 3rd round to the 4th round, adding another 5th in there and making it up that way.
Yeah. I'm just, everybody in this draft, it's like there are a lot of flaws, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you're going to be dealing with at 32. I don't know if they're going to get great value moving up, even though if teams are willing to parachute down more, it would be one where like if you could use one of those future thirds, that could be interesting. But I don't know if they're also then moving down in the 2nd round. We're coming off the year in which I think Howie did his best job ever playing the board.
Sure.
And so I'm curious to see how he follows that up.
Agreed. Landing Quinyon and Cooper DeJean. Guys they had the same exact grade on, they say, at least after the fact.
Yeah. But I mean, this is not retroactive. We said this at the end of the draft that in terms of like players aside, just manipulating the board, that was his best work ever.
Agreed.
Okay. All right. I guess Zach wants to go. So.
I didn't say that. I agree there. He did a good job manipulating the board. I can repeat what you said there, yes.
Slowpoke, Squirtle, Blastoise, Starmie, Mudskip, Torturtle, Charizard gets a shout out.
I appreciate, by the way, the the Apple Podcast comments that everyone has been leaving. Thank you very much. Continue leaving those YouTube comments, rate, subscribe, and super chats too. Love those super chats.
How did your collar perform today?
Not great. It's something when I leave, it's good, or when I leave, it's fine.
Leave the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why, but the collar it's going to make me reassess T-shirts on here.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. That's not on you. Maybe Emily will say I need to get better T-shirts.
Ask not for better T-shirts. Ask for broader shoulders.
Yeah, that could be the problem, right?
There you go. All right, that's all we got. We're going to be back tomorrow, 2:00. Now, Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni will be speaking a little bit before then, so we're going to have a nice little Freebird situation going on. I will not be here, and so it's going to be Handsome Rich and Fran starting things off. Zach's going to join from the NovaCare Complex. We'll get all the latest from what Howie and Nick say. We'll be back on Wednesday, 2:00, to talk about another position group, and then Thursday at 2:00 and Friday at 2:00, all leading up to the draft next Thursday night. And you know what else is leading up to the draft next Thursday night? That's this Thursday night at J.D. McGillicuddy's, the Draft Summit, because Fran Duffy drinks around. Should be a lot of fun. Good conversation starting at 6 o'clock. And, man, that caricature of Cuz is really good. Can we see that one again? That's a really good Cuz. Yeah.
What do you think of Fran on there?
It's a little bit like the old Chris Kattan monkey character on SNL.
Yeah,
Cuz is great.
Yeah, I'm really upset that I'm going to miss that. I gotta say, I'm gonna be in Colorado on Thursday. As Shay says, I know there's some. I've heard from a number of listeners, sickos, viewers, who want to come here, Sheil and Lindsey Jones, and then me on the stage as well. And yeah, please come Thursday, 4 to 6 local time at Colorado State Canvas Stadium. Excited for that, but I committed to that before I knew about this event on Thursday night. So I'm sorry I'm going to miss that.
You can't be everywhere.
I've learned that the hard way.
I know that's right. All right, that'll do it for this episode of the PHLY Eagles podcast. Thank you, Julia. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow, 2 o'clock. And as always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.